Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. Bank document exposes how Dangote wired funds to NPA's Malam Usman during general election. Hello everyone, a very warm big thank you to you. Thanks for being there. We really appreciate you. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe if this is your first time. Thank you so much. So some bank documents have surfaced with regards to Dangote wiring some money that could be implicating. Well, let's get straight into the news and get all the details. In the heat of 2015 general election, Aloko, Dangote transferred 200 million to a bank account run by Hadiza Balam Usman, Bring Back Our Girls activist, who has been the managing director of Nigerian Port Authority since 2016. The transaction were sent to two accounts from two different bank accounts of the African richest man to Mrs. Balam Usman's account, with Access Bank financial records seen by People's Glacier says Mrs. Balam Usman received the first 100 million transfer on February the 6th, 2015, while the second 100 million transfer came 3 days later on February 9th. The transfer carried description that it made it difficult to conclude the purpose. Since November 3rd, neither Mr. Dangote nor Mrs. Balam Usman clarified the purpose for this transaction to the Glacier despite multiple requests for comment. Mr. Dangote's spokesman, Tony, declined to comment or denying his principal intention for transferring such amounts of funds. But Mrs. Balam Usman pointedly denied acknowledgement of the transaction to the Glacier, despite being told of the date, amount, and the specific bank account with which the funds were received. I am not aware of any such payment made to my account, Mrs. Balam Usman told the Glacier. She declined to elaborate on the matter. Even though Mr. Dangote and Mrs. Balam Usman declined to clarify the transaction, at least two sources close to the APC campaign told the Glacier that the 200 million was part of the campaign donation channeled to the opposition campaign through proxy by Mrs. Balam Usman. Mrs. Balam Usman largely restricted herself from politicians during the 2015 election. She was widely known at the time as a key voice for the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, for which she was profiled by the Financial Times and other Western media outlets. Muhammadu Buhari's Nigerian former military ruler was seeking a return to power in the election that was initially scheduled for February the 14th, 2015, but when the exercise was postponed to February the 8th, Mr. Buhari allegedly flooded the country with scam that the then ruling people claimed that the then ruling People's Party was trying to serve them of funds. The APC was reported to have exhausted its campaign war challenge with the election and was extending for another 6 weeks until March the 28th. APC was, however, able to sustain the campaign until its victory on March 28th, boycott by alarming rates of insecurity and corruption, and characterized the Goodluck Jonathan administration as a failed one. She played a helpful role during the campaign through the Bring Back Our Girls senior partner and parties of APC Lagos chapter through the Glacier. She received money towards El-Rufai campaign and by extension the Buhari Osibanjo's campaign as at the time. Our sources said Mrs. Balam Usman rise through political ranks, first as chief of staff to Mr. El-Rufai in Kaduna and later MD of NPA, was largely as a result of her political mobilization for the non-opposition party. Those who have been gambling and grappling that she handled a juicy position like NPA, even when she did not campaign with such a minimum understanding of the role she played in 2015. Another APC source in Abuja told the Glacier this week, Mrs. Balam Usman account also reflects multiple transactions to other APC players, including Balaraba Abe's lawyer, Mr. El-Rufai, cabinet secretary. At last, 9 transactions worthy nearly 400 million went to Mr. Lawaz during the 2015 election. Mr. Dangote himself has long endured allegations of oil his vessel industrial empire by keeping friends with people with policies making and political policy makers. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Dangote was widely criticized after his company received a special waiver to export its product through Nigerian line border, which has been closed to other companies since 2019. Founder of the CBUK IBTC criticized the government action as unsustainable, saying it could have a negative impact on the nation's economy. But the billionaire was largely brushed off the allegation, especially because of the evidence of his involvement in the patronage of politics and finances was rarely being published. Why both Mr. Dangote and Mr. Balim Usman has right to endure in peasant politics with their time and resources, the status of this society demand that such activities should be disclosed according to the anti-corruption campaign Halima campaign has said. Personally, both of them can support anyone the way they like, the individual's capacity, Mrs. Halima said from London, but they should be transparent with it. Mrs. Halima said Mr. Dangote was amongst a group of supported non-peasant spokesman who prevailed on Mr. Jonathan to consider the election of 2015 to Mr. Buhari, which made the Glacier find it even more demeaning that the general context of Nigerian democracy experience and what is really happening. Mrs. Malam Usman was known worldwide as Bring Up Our Girls campaign, but it now appears as though her actual intention was to return Mr. Buhari to power 30 years after he was busted as a military coup. The London-based activist has said, if you pay attention, you would see that Buhari's government has been treating NSAS campaigners as opposition. Mrs. Haman has said it is because of people like Hassan who had undermining genuine activity for peasant politician gain, allowing politicians to keep tagging every civilian move as an opposition. So my people, this is exactly what is going on, how they carry on and why they are tagging NSAS protesters is all been unveiled. Leave us a comment. God bless you. Bye for now.